Naya, I've been waiting and waiting and waiting to see what you wrote me. Oh my gosh, she has 10 questions. All right. Hold on. She wrote me a message first. Let me read that to myself. Okay. Ooh. What songs would you assign to the different generations and why? That's hard. That's really hard. Generation one. I'm going to come back to that one because I really like that question. And it really needs to be answered thoroughly. And I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to have to like go through my archives and like find the right songs. I'm going to get back to that one, Naya. How many hours have you played The Sims? um, I'm recording this on my laptop right now, and it doesn't have Origin on it. But by the time I get back to my desktop to edit this, I will edit that in and put it right at the bottom of the screen for you. But it's been a lot of hours. It's probably, when was the last time I checked? I think the last time I checked was like maybe a year ago when I was at like 1800 and something. But I'm sure by now it's at the screen and you're laughing at how much I've played, especially since I don't play every day. Who was the character you struggled with the most? The one character? Um, I'm trying to. I have one character in mind. I'm just trying to make sure that there isn't someone else. There were a few that I did struggle with, but I think I eventually got it together. At least you guys said so. Amira, Lance's mother, Brandon's wife. And you guys struggled with her too. I think there was only one person who actually liked her, and she probably liked her only because we didn't like her. Um, okay, I just want to say that I did not plan to have Brandon and Amira have such a tumultuous end. I did not. I had the best of intentions for them. I wanted them, I mean, especially from Jaden getting divorced in the previous generation. I didn't want to have another generation of marriage trouble. But Amira, so you want to know what's cool? So Amira, I made in that demo that came out before the game came out. And Giancarlo, I downloaded him. I don't know who the original person was, but I downloaded him and I changed just a few things about him and I changed his name. And I put them in the house together. It was him and Beth Greenwood, Beth's mother, and another sim I made in the demo. His name was Kyle. You probably saw him one time. That was the guy at, if you remember, in what was it, chapter 63, I think, when Love is a Beautiful Thing, when Bianca and Giancarlo got married. Remember the scene where it was Brandon and Giancarlo at the table at the chapel, and there was another guy sitting across from him, and he said something like, well, me and Brandon got the finest women in the world, like pretty much you're out of luck. And the guy says, oh, I need to go back to Bridgeport. That guy, the four of them I put in a house and I dropped them in the world. And so that scene when Brandon and Bianca were in the park with Colby and they were, just trying to get out because, they came home with their parents arguing. I had no idea that Giancarlo and Amira were actually going to be in the park that day. So it was so cool that they were actually there. Amira actually walked up to Brandon and started that conversation. I didn't. It was the coolest thing. And they really were fast friends, just like Giancarlo and Bianca were. So, luckily, those were two relationships I didn't really have to force. They just, they just kind of happened. So, yeah, they had a beautiful beginning. And a lot of you agreed, like you guys thought they were cute together. However, I learned that it is really difficult to have two romantics in the same house when they are not in a relationship with each other. Remember when Giancarlo went to Bianca and he was saying to her that he didn't feel comfortable around Amira because she was flirting with him? That really happened. So, and remember Giancarlo said that he wasn't sure what he saw, but he thought he saw her waving at him. So that was more me speaking for him. So they were having dinner together, and I thought I saw her doing one of these, but I caught it too late. And I was like, did she just really? So, but then she did it again and again and again. And like I had to start canceling interactions for her flirting with I'm like, oh my goodness. Her husband, her husband is sitting right here. And of course, Bianca I'm like, this girl is off the chain. So that was a bit of a red flag, but I wasn't going to let it, like drag the story down. It was something that I was just I was going to stow away and just kind of keep my eyes open, make sure, maybe they're not alone together much. So, but then she was just so boring, you guys. Her backstory, like, from her being from another country and being an orphan, all that was great. And, but it didn't really help me know her much. And so when I would write her lines, like after they got married, they were so bland to me. And she just wasn't exciting. And I didn't know how to make her exciting. And then she was flirting with Giancarlo. And then she was boring. All she ever wanted to do was dance. She wasn't that good of a mom, even though I made it seem like she was, because I, like I was trying to find something to ascribe to her that I could use in the story, but she was so hard. She was so hard. So yeah, she was boring. All she wanted to do was woo Brandon and dance. So I got her a job just so I wouldn't have to, not babysit, but just so I wouldn't have to look at her all day. I mean, at least Giancarlo and Brandon, even though they were unemployed because they worked at home, at least they had things to do all day. So, it's not like I had to babysit them and kind of watch the time until the women got home. So, but with her, it's just like, how many more hours do I have to sit here and watch her dance? So I got her a job so I can just get her out the house and keep her occupied. And she just got more and more boring to me. And it got to the point where I didn't even want her in the story anymore. I'm sorry. I mean, I didn't like her. I mean, I generally I love all my Sims. I love them, but I was not in love with her at all. And I'm sorry, but that's just how it is. I didn't like her, and she had to go. So, like, I had a mirror card. I had an ace in my pocket. So I was looking for an opportunity to make a break for it, but nothing ever really came up that was really right, that really fit the moment, you know? So, how did I get the idea for real talk? I don't remember how I got that idea, but I think what it was, oh yeah. So after all that time of the Sheridans and the Pruitts living in the same house together, you know, Giancarlo was already old and he was going to die pretty soon. It suddenly occurred to me that I never capitalized on Brandon and Giancarlo's relationship, and I regretted it so much. I was like, why haven't I given them more of like a brotherly, you know, I mean, it was a missed opportunity. So I was trying not to redeem myself, but I was trying to use what I had, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, so I had Brandon not go to Giancarlo because Giancarlo went to him, but you know, like I wanted them to have some sort of talk where you know Brandon just really laid out all his cards on the table and was like, "Look, bruh, I'm bored," you know. Um, then of course his birthday was the next day, and he was old, and that's when I was like, "This is it. This is where I get her out of the house." Um, yeah, I I'm terrible at keeping up with Sims ages. And so when I had him say, "You go away for a week," I didn't necessarily realize at the end of that week he would be dead. So I kind of wish I would have shortened that up a little bit. That way, there could have been a more explosive end to it. But that last line of that one chapter was pretty dope, though. I'm really proud of myself for that. You know, he said he's going to be dead tomorrow. That was hot. But I didn't want him to, you know, I didn't want him to die like right after he decided he wasn't going to bring her back home. But anyway.